It can be so scary starting your own business. Whether you're starting a full time business or you're only doing it part time or on the side. Hey, powerful people, maybe you are wanting to be an entrepreneur. You've thought about it. Maybe you haven't thought about being an entrepreneur at all because that just scares the crap out of you. Well, today I want to talk to you about my journey in entrepreneurship, what that looked like, what I've learned, some pros and cons of that. So we're going to start off with my journey. So 2 years ago, we moved down here to South Florida. And I was looking at teaching jobs in schools and coming from a ministry background. But what happened was we moved down here, and 2 weeks later, COVID shut everything down. So everything I had went goodbye. So sat at home for a few months, trying to figure out what my life would look like once everything started to open up. And I continued to look for just positions in schools and things like that, but they all continued to do virtual learning. And at that point, no one was hiring in schools. So I was thinking about what would it look like to work on my own. I've always had the desire to help people stay organized and create productivity systems, but I hadn't thought about starting my own business. And now that I have the time to do it, I said, let's jump into it. So I jumped into learning about what this business would look like, talked to some other people in the business, and wasn't quite ready to step into it. Put out a Facebook page and just started posting a little bit of content. But I got a job at IKEA working part-time because I knew the business wasn't going to take off immediately. And in that time, going back to work, I really felt like I was called to be an entrepreneur because I hated going in to work at weird times and being under someone else's jurisdiction and having a limit on how much I could earn and having to wear a uniform. That was probably my least favorite part of all. Having to clock in and out. And even though some of those aspects are good and needed and some people thrive in those environments, it wasn't for me. So after my 6 months in IKEA, I really stepped into, all right, what does it look like to go full time with this? And it can be super scary, not knowing where the next paycheck's coming from, how to get clients, the super steep learning curve of running your own business, especially if you have no business mind training like me. I've never been in that sort of field before. So there was a lot of learning curve, and I had a lot of insecurities about the fact that I'd never run a business before. How would people trust me? Because I have no real experience with this and I'm new to this area. So there was so many factors that really at first limited me to think I'm not good enough to run this business. I'm not good enough for people to trust me. But as time went on, I really learned about who I was. And this is why I believe everyone should become an entrepreneur in some sense, whether that's full-time, part-time, or just a side hustle that you do a couple hours a week. Because you learn so much about who you are. You learn so many life skills and how to interact with the world around you. And for me, I really learned how to use my strengths. And I really learned how to put off my weaknesses and have others help me with those aspects. And for me, one of the big things is like I said, have no business background training. So going into this, I knew that I would need help from people who were more business minded, who were able to think in a larger sense and be able to help me scale my business. So in the year and a half I've been in business, I've really learned about what it looks like to fail, planning for those failures and how to overcome them. I've really learned how to be creative and how I create relationships, where I look for those opportunities to grow my business. I've really learned about what it looks like to deal with your own insecurities while trying to be confident with your customers. So it's scary, and I definitely think everyone should do this because it just teaches you so much about yourself, about how to overcome failure, how to think outside the box. And when you do all those, you become so much more confident. In the last year and a half, my confidence has gone so high. My ability to think outside the box is so much greater, and I have so much more potential to do anything I want because I've been in this world that's allowed me to really expand my mind and my skills and just expand who I am. So maybe you're thinking, well, there's some pros and cons to entrepreneurship, and you're right. So there's some pros with being able to have your own time schedule. You don't have to wear uniforms. You can wear whatever you want. You don't have to wear pants if you're just doing Zoom calls all the time. You have no earning limit. You just keep earning more and more and more as much as you desire. You also are able to really curate who you interact with. So you can talk to those people who you really connect with. Where at a 9 to 5, you have to interact with the people you work with, even if you don't necessarily like them. And the cons of being an entrepreneur is you don't have that stability of a paycheck. You don't have the ability to turn off like a 9 to 5. You're relying solely on who you are and having to face some of those insecurities like I did. But one of the greatest things is when you become an entrepreneur, you have the ability to do only what you want to do. And I found that even though my brain doesn't turn off like in a 9 to 5, it doesn't matter because I love and enjoy so much what I do that doing it actually gives me energy. It doesn't drain me like a lot of people with their jobs. And it's okay to have a job right now that kind of drains you while you're working on building your entrepreneurial spirit and business. But I found so much freedom in just who I am, and I'm so much happier, and those around me can see it, that I'm able to do really what I enjoy, create content like this, talk to people about what I do, that I would do it from 7 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. Hopefully, if you are thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, this has encouraged you. Maybe if you're struggling with your business as a newer entrepreneur, this has helped let you know that you can get through it, that there's great things to come. And if you need help with learning how to become an entrepreneur, give me a message. I would love to help talk you through what it looks like using your abilities and being able to impact the most people that you can.